Yeah, we think this might have been in this film that we watched the other day called Byzantium, which I actually think is a really good film. Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I like it.
Cool. It was shot in Hastings, so we kind of tend to watch it every time we come here and go around and try and find the different areas in the movie. I'm taking you to one area that I know is where it is. I wanted to show her a specific place that unfortunately is a little bit of a walk away. So that gives me the perfect opportunity to talk about what I wanted to talk about today, which is the cost of charging versus petrol and diesel. Because I was thinking, this was sort of prompted by, I was looking at where we should stop on the way back. And I mean, the Flimwell supercharger is great and all, except it doesn't really have the most incredible amenities. You know, it's not amenities. Sorry, I'm not American, Jesus. Yeah, no, it doesn't have the best amenities. It doesn't have, I mean, you know, there are facilities there, and there is a cafe that was closed when we stopped last time, so that wasn't very impressive. And the truth is, I wouldn't mind stopping somewhere that's a bit more lively, especially as we're going to be going back late this evening. So I was having a bit of a look, and the problem is, like, where we stopped, we actually stopped twice on the way here. The first one was just the Cobham services on the M25, and they have a bunch of Ionity chargers there. So I thought, well, maybe we could stop there, right? And I did a quick bit of maths, and the problem with stopping there is it actually costs more to charge the car for the miles that you do than it would to put petrol or diesel in the thing. I have a moral objection to that, quite honestly. It's like 74 pence a kilowatt hour. Like, for 200 miles of range, that's like 40 quid or something. So I think we're going to stick with the supercharger, but it got me thinking, you know, how do costs compare? I mean, what do you do if you are somebody who doesn't have at-home parking? Because, okay, so I'm very lucky with my car because it's an old Tesla, so it comes with free supercharging for the life of the vehicle, which is great. Which means, I mean, I don't actually use it that often, but it means that when I use a supercharger, it costs me absolutely nothing unless I, you know, incur idle fees, you know, which would not be so good. So I obviously have a strong incentive to stick with superchargers, given that that is the case. When I'm at home, obviously, I charge at the home power rate, which is 26 pence a unit, I think. But anyway, it's a lot less than 70 something pence a unit. And that means that, you know, 15 quid, a couple hundred miles, it's perfectly reasonable, and it's a good third of the cost that petrol or diesel would be. So it's a bit of a no-brainer. But what would I do if I didn't have that home charging? That is the question, because like a large proportion of people in this country do not have off-street parking, and most councils, like the vast majority of councils, have not installed actual charge posts along the street. Like, look here, whole bunch of parking, not one single charger. I have and continue to think that the best solution for people without off-street parking is charging at supermarkets. And I guess somebody must agree, because there are a fair number of chargers at supermarkets these days. And actually Vauxhall have this thing whereby if you buy a new EV from them, you get free charging for 12 months at Tesco supermarkets, which is cool. I mean, that makes a big difference. Obviously, after those 12 months, then you're going to have to start paying for it, so that's not so great. But supermarkets work really well for charging EVs because you're there for a couple of hours anyway, usually, if you're doing your weekly shop. So if you also charge the car up, you can hopefully get about a week's worth of power out of it, and then you're good to go. Especially if that power is reasonably priced. But if there's no price incentive for EVs and they're just more expensive vehicles that are more hassle to use and cost more to run, then it's just, adoption is going to tail off significantly, shall we say. So there's definitely some question marks. Recognise it?
I do now. Is this a bit where they sat?
Yeah, I think so. That's the one.
Is it?
Yeah, definitely.
Can you get a shot through there?
I don't know.
How about here? It's cleaner. Excuse me.
Funny.
Hiya,
Sorry.
Sorry.
Cool building.
Oh, that'd be lovely.
Oh
Please
yeah,
do.
cheers.
Thank you so much. We're here.
That is an awesome lift. That's made my day. It's actually a really cool building.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Look at the Corinthian carved columns. What is this?
I don't know. All right, let's crack on. Yeah, Byzantium is actually a really good movie, and there we go. And I am a big fan of watching it when we come to Hastings. I think because it's I suppose one of the things that's really nice about it is, unlike a lot of movies and locations, it's all like basically within a mile or two is where almost the entire thing was filmed. Anyway, I don't know, I like the movie, I like Hastings, we've had a great time. Thank you, Mum, for lending us your place, by the way. Right, we've got a meeting to get to now. That's shocking. I've just been on Fleet News's website, and it seems to suggest that it might actually be cheaper to run a petrol or diesel car for 200 miles than an EV, depending on the charge network. Like it's saying here, like 26 quid to go 200 miles in a 48 mpg petrol car, whereas on an EV to do 200 miles it costs like 40 quid. That's shocking. That's not good. It's not good at all. EVs should be cheaper. Electricity should be cheaper. And on top of that, I think a lot of the charging networks' pricing policies are a bit dodge, quite honestly. Like, you know, having a connection fee. Why is there a connection fee? Do you pay a connection fee at the petrol pump? No. Well, why are they saying there needs to be a connection fee? I suppose the only possible logical explanation is if the car is charging so slowly that it impedes their ability to sell electricity to someone else for like an hour and a half. But even so, I would have thought maybe an extra charge or a minimum charge per hour would be a better way to implement that than a connection fee. But not from anything. The main problem with things like connection fees is it makes it very difficult to find the cheapest option, which essentially eliminates competition when it comes to charging your car. I mean, I don't really think about it, is the truth. When I do charge at a place that is not a Tesla supercharger, what I end up doing is just plugging the car into whichever charger is conveniently located, and then the cost is what the cost is, which of course means they can basically charge whatever they like. And for the most part, you'll pay it. Obviously, for me, I do tend to try and avoid places that haven't got a big T above them because, you know, it's free then, so it makes sense. But it must be very difficult to find a cheap charger, and nobody wants to spend all their time doing that. It's just, there's work to be done. Admittedly, it is a lot better than it was. I mean, you can at least now pay with a card or an app, like right there at the machine, and have a reasonable chance of success, as opposed to the good old days where you needed to send off for an RFID card 2 weeks in advance, which meant you needed to know where you were going and what chargers you wanted to use at all times, which just sounds ridiculous. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab a coffee and some food now, I think. At least availability of chargers doesn't seem to be a problem anymore. That makes a big difference. Yeah, like every motorway service station's got a decent number of them, but we're still quite a long ways off, you know, where we need to be if every vehicle was going to be an EV. But we'll get there, I have no doubt on that. I just think I always think it's a bit of an annoyance. This is often the way it works in life, really. The people that have the most means in the first place are often the ones that have access to the cheapest and best you know, sort of situations. Like, for example, if you can afford a house with off-street parking, then you have access to being able to charge your EV from cheap rate overnight electricity if you want, at which point it is much cheaper than petrol and diesel. And if you don't have any off-street parking, then you have to rely on the chargers at your supermarket or somewhere else, you know, quick chargers and stuff, which are substantially more expensive than otherwise. If you've got a big house with loads of solar panels, you can charge for free. Why does society do that? Right, well, we've had a very busy day and a good day. It's been very productive. However, I need to say goodbye now and get on with a little bit more sort of stuff in the evening. So I hope you've all enjoyed today's vlog post. If you have, remember to leave a like and share it and subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Instagram and X if you like, links in the description. And I want to say a big thank you to my Patreon supporters because you guys are awesome. And I'll see you all in the next episode of my vlog. Bye.